All right, everybody. How's it going tonight? Hope everybody's doing all well. Hope you like my snowman background that I've been having up lately. Just to get you into, I don't know, some kind of winter mode, whether you want it or not. My moving snowman. Don't be afraid to say hello on the chat. Find the little chat button down there on the live chat. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know who's watching. It's always kind of helpful, always kind of nice just to see who's around and where they're watching from. West Central Minnesota. Hello, Schrodinger's for Squirrel. We're going to give it a little bit. If you don't mind, if you haven't done so already, hit the share button or let people know that this is going on, especially if you've got somebody who you might kind of want to let know that this is, there's a forecast going on and they might want to listen if they've got something going on. Got a lot of questions about schools already. Of course, that's the big one. Is there going to be school? Is there not going to be school? Those are always very good questions. And obviously, not up to me to decide, but boy, I could give probably a pretty good idea for a number of areas as to what's going to happen, particularly as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, make sure, as Nightbot just says, make sure you hit the subscribe or hit the like button at least. Hit the thumbs up button. That kind of helps the algorithm. If you don't want to share it, just hit the like button down below. Hit the thumbs up button. That kind of gets the algorithm going and helps get this channel noticed. Subscribe as well. I cover the Dakotas and Minnesota exclusively. So that's hello, Manx. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Dakotas and Minnesota exclusively. So you live, work, travel around here. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the little bell button down below as well, so that you know when I am on live or I've uploaded a video. So we're going to talk about, hey, Kimmy, good to see you. Good to hear from you in Sioux Falls. Hello, Sioux Falls. Awesome. Sioux Falls is always, seems to be represented. Bob, hello. Bismarck. So, and then I think how we're going to kind of start, I'll wait just a little bit. Yeah, that's right, Schrodinger, you're close to Manx there. How we're going to do this is we're going to do a quick, just a rundown, a 2 to 3 minute rundown over the next couple of days, because there's people that just, they're anxious. They want, people want the news version sometimes, and they want just give me the quick hitter. Tell me what you're going to think in 3 minutes, and then I'm out. Okay. I'll give you that for the impatient people. And then after that, we'll break it down and we'll go through it, kind of every 6 hours or so, and really kind of break down the area and time to time. And that way you really get a feel for what's going on, when things are going to start to accumulate, when's the freezing drizzle, when's the freezing rain going to come, all that kind of fun stuff. And you can really get a good handle as to what's going on, which is obviously important if you're making plans, if you're making travel plans, if you're trying to figure out, school plans and all that kind of fun stuff. So, and just because, this is something that the news channels can't do. They can't break it down like this. Hello, Andrea from Southeast Minnesota, Heather in Wilmer. Good having you. Keep letting me know where you're from. But yeah, this is something that the guys on the TV and the radio, they're not going to do it. They're not going to break it down. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to really break it down, and then we're going to ask questions. We're going to let you ask questions, and we'll try to, answer them the best we can. So obviously that's, again, just another little service that you get here on YouTube from me, from Region Weather Live here, so that you wouldn't really get anywhere else. So, but yeah, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like buttons, and make sure you share it. So yeah, we're looking at just to get a quick rundown, and then we'll get into it here. Tomorrow, some of it starts ready, just with the possibility of freezing drizzle. And then it really gets going Monday night, and more so into Tuesday. Tuesday is a little bit more of a question mark as to, is it going to be freezing rain? Is it going to be snow? Is it going to be freezing drizzle? How much snow is going to accumulate? How much freezing rain is going to accumulate? Really, then the heavy snow starts to take place down in South Dakota, and the winds. Hello, Wayne in East Grand. Hello, neighbor Wayne. And then Tuesday, and then as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday, things start to clear up a little bit more, just because the models kind of start to go green and everything turns over to snow. And then it kind of lingers. It lingers. We get some light snow Thursday. The winds continue down in South Dakota. Friday, the winds kind of shift into the Red River Valley area and into Minnesota. We get some light snow Saturday still. So it's going to take a little bit for this really to clear up. Appreciate it. Best weather coverage anywhere. Thanks, Minx. That's right. I hope so. I hope you feel like that. All right. So what we'll do is we'll get right into the breakdown of it here. And so here's kind of the quick version. Here we are. Monday morning, right? Nothing really going on. We got Monday afternoon. Nothing really showing up. However, we might have some freezing drizzle going on within this region. As we get even into the noon hours, not a great chance. Maybe a little bit more so as we get into the evening, Monday evening. You can kind of see it starting to pick up a little bit, starting to show up just a bit on this model, where we're starting to pick up just a little more freezing drizzle, maybe even a little bit of light snow out in the northwest. And then as we get more into the overnight hours, Monday night, this is, we'll back that up, sorry. Monday night at midnight, early Tuesday morning, right? We're starting to see the freezing drizzle, the freezing rain. Some rain starts to work in, a little bit of snow out in the western Dakotas. And then by 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, more freezing rain, some freezing drizzle. Some of that freezing drizzle might make its way still up and down the Red River Valley. But really then the good heavy snow, heavy to moderate snows start to occur, especially down in South Dakota by Tuesday morning. As we get into the noon time frame, more snow really starts to pick up across South Dakota, rain and freezing rain across Minnesota, snow elsewhere. As we get into the afternoon, Tuesday evening, more snow, pretty stiff winds out in the western Dakotas, probably starting to create blizzard conditions out there. Midnight, Tuesday night, Wednesday, early Wednesday morning, that snow starts to move northward, freezing rain, snow into northern and northeastern parts of Minnesota, and then maybe a little bit of breaks in some areas, but otherwise snow. And then as we get into Wednesday morning, 6 a.m., again, everything just kind of pretty much turns over to snow by that point, and we're just left with a lot of lingering snow as we go throughout the remainder of the day. Wednesday night, and into Thursday morning, we're still dealing with a little bit of light snow even as we go into Thursday morning. The expected, or what I've got at this point for snow accumulations, as I pull that up, it's not real big, but it's there. And the other thing to note, I will have all these graphics up on my social media sites, which I have listed in the description down below, but also on the chat here, my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll have all these graphics up along with a couple others I'll do afterwards. But here is kind of what we're expecting right now. Really that 15 to 22 inches down in the southwestern parts of South Dakota, 10 to 15 up into central and reaching up to Bismarck. 6 to 10 for all those of you in here in blue, which includes a good part of North Dakota, and then parts of northeast parts of Minnesota. 4 to 6 in these light blue areas, and then we've got 2 to 4 in the yellow, and less than 2, or 2 and less in the yellow here down here. This area in the yellow circle here is kind of our area of uncertainty, where that could really fluctuate depending on a number of things, which I'll discuss in a bit. And then here's our icing potential up and down kind of that Buffalo Ridge area, anywhere maybe possibly up to a quarter to even a half inch of freezing rain, freezing precip sleet. and then right around it, anywhere from 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. And then anywhere in this green area, we're looking at just a trace because of the freezing drizzle to maybe even 1/10 of an inch in these areas in green. And then everybody here in blue has got a winter storm watch out. Now the times when they start, when they end, they all vary. So make sure you kind of tune into your own, find your own National Weather Service near you: Bismarck, Grand Forks, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Duluth, Twin Cities, just to get an idea for when yours starts and stops. And I think the Twin Cities said they're probably going to issue a few more counties here that it's going to be included here through the overnight hours as well. So I think some of these blue areas will track a little bit further south. But all these areas already on a winter storm watch, blizzard warnings in the northwestern parts of Nebraska already. That very likely will move northward into southwestern parts of South Dakota. So that is the quick and dirty of it, right? Like I said, I'll have all this basically up on my social media sites, the graphics. So if you want the detail stuff, if you want to get into it a little more and you want to really dive into it, now we're gonna get into the fun part. This is what I hope most people are here for, is to really kind of get into the meat and potatoes of everything here. All right. Just because, obviously you're here for a reason. You want to find out when all this really is going to take place. You want to figure out what's the caveats, what's going to create more snow, less snow, all that kind of fun stuff. So we're going to get into it here. So we're starting off, here's our satellite, right? And all this area, you can kind of see it in through here, that yellowish area, all low level moisture already working up north. And a lot of these areas, especially up in the northeastern parts of Minnesota, there's been parts around Grand Forks have been dealing with fog and low ceilings and freezing drizzle and all that kind of stuff. So the moisture's been here for now a couple of days already. That low level moisture's been sitting in here, and we're already having areas of trouble for travel conditions and slippery roads because of it, because that fog's sitting in there and the roads are starting to ice up already. Out here, that's our low. There you can see it out there, really spinning. It's just coming on shore right now. And then the wind's driving and just pushing, just driving right through the Rockies and starting to push into our area. So this is the upper level portion really that you're seeing out here in the West Coast. And so that storm system is just making its way on. And this is when the models really start to get a little better handle on it. I think particularly as we get into tomorrow morning, things will really start to narrow. We'll really be able to narrow things down. But here we are, folks. We're already got the moisture along with it out ahead of this storm already. It's fascinating. It's crazy how much impact this is already having. As we take a look at the actual moisture, so we're looking at moisture just like 5,000 feet above the ground. And as we go through the overnight hours tonight and particularly into tomorrow, look at how that really, really increases. Just tremendous amount of energy, even more moisture getting worked up and in through the region. Now notice some of these areas a little bit further to the east are a little bit drier, particularly into Minnesota, right? And what that does is obviously we've got all this low-level moisture working into the Dakotas, particularly South Dakota and into southeastern parts of North Dakota. But the other end of it, as we go a little bit further up into the atmosphere, we notice it's a little bit drier as you go even further up. And so what that does is create freezing drizzle. So when you have that low-level moisture, kind of what's been going on up in Duluth, you've had that fog, those low clouds, those super cooled freezing liquid the super cooled liquid droplets, and they freeze on contact to the ground. And that's really what's happening with these areas. So as we start off the day, as we go from kind of noon into the evening hours Monday, that's where we're going to be looking at the possibility of the freezing drizzle starting to take place in these particularly in these regions as we get into Monday evening. And that's going to, obviously it's already going to start a problem when it comes to travel. As we continue through Monday night and into Tuesday, we see even more moisture starts to get worked into the system. Now, this is kind of that mid-level moisture. So all this area in through here, as more moisture kind of really starts to work its way in, these areas probably going to turn over to more rain because it has an abundant amount of moisture. Now it's falling as rain, whereas these areas further back, it's going to be cold enough and it's going to transition everything over to snow as we go into the night, Tuesday night or Monday night into Tuesday morning. Now, the other thing to note as we go along here, look at the dry air that eventually gets worked in Tuesday into Tuesday night. All the way down here, let's pull this down just a little bit. All the way down here from California, works through Arizona, New Mexico, and wraps its way all the way into our area, right? So what that's going to do is obviously it's going to shut the snow down for a little bit, right? Where these areas get dry, and really in some of these areas, instead of snow, it's going to turn over to freezing drizzle probably for a little bit. And so that becomes really important as we go through Tuesday and Tuesday evening, just because it's no longer snow. Now it's fall. Now it's either quit or it's back to freezing drizzle for a little bit. And where this little pocket occurs, obviously, is going to pay a big difference as to who's going to get more snow and not. So, obviously, if this pocket shifts a little bit further north, south, east, west, that's going to change things. And that continues to basically rotate north and eastward throughout the overnight hours, Tuesday night into the early parts of Wednesday morning. Now, the other thing is just ahead of this pocket, oftentimes you get some pretty good snows out ahead of it. So you might actually see some moderate to heavy, maybe even some thunder snow. And then all of a sudden it turns to nothing or freezing drizzle after that for a little bit. So, where this hits up really becomes a problem because it's going to be difficult kind of in through this region. For one, where's the freezing rain, the freezing drizzle going to set up? Two, where's that pocket of dry air going to settle in Tuesday night into Wednesday? So really within this area, forecast is actually probably the most difficult across as compared to the remainder of the region. All right, so we break it down a little bit more, right? And we take a look at the warm air that gets pushed in, more warm air pulled in, sucked all the way into Minnesota, right? Creating that possibility for the freezing rain as we get into Monday night and the freezing drizzle, and into Monday morning continues, all that warm air continues in through Minnesota. And then it's really not until you get into Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning till that cold air really starts to sag back in. So we're probably not so much concerned anymore about the freezing rain as maybe just the snow and the freezing drizzle by that point. But looks like by Wednesday, and particularly as you get later in the day, Wednesday morning and into the afternoon hours, pretty much everything by that point turns over to snow. All right, so we break it down a little more, right? And here is Monday afternoon. And nothing really showing up, like I said before, on the models. But we still have just an abundance of moisture here, right? We have all this moisture working into central parts of North Dakota, so we're probably looking at a little bit of freezing drizzle, possibly even starting by noon on Monday. More so as we get into Monday evening, as you can see, look at all that. Look how much more moist everything gets into South Dakota and Minnesota, or South Dakota, North Dakota, and even into southwestern parts of Minnesota. So many of these areas in here will have at least the possibility of seeing some freezing drizzle Monday evening at 6 p.m. already. The model itself doesn't really pick it up. You start to see a little bit starting to show up, but it oftentimes does have that, it has that difficulty with the freezing drizzle. So even though it's not showing up on here, there's the possibility roads already could get slick Monday evening already. Now, as we get into midnight, Monday night, early Tuesday morning, right? Already starts to pick up a little more here on the models. We get a little more moisture starting to, the moisture starts to pile up up through the atmosphere. So maybe a little more freezing rain or sleet even in some of these parts, especially down into south central parts of South Dakota. Probably a little more freezing drizzle up north. Really, we'll take it all up and through here. Draw it a little better than that. And then as we, again, we take a look at the moisture, and it's just an abundance of low level moisture. So anybody in through that region, we're looking at the possibility of that freezing drizzle. Now, once we get into Tuesday morning, 6 a.m., now we start to pick up a little more. That moisture deepens down into southwestern parts of Minnesota, up through the Buffalo Ridge part, up through northeast South Dakota. We get a little more moisture in there, and it starts to fall more as sleet and freezing rain. And really, those areas are probably going to have the most difficulty, or have the best chance, at least, for seeing the freezing rain. Elsewhere by noon on, or 6 a.m. on Tuesday, we see some light to maybe some moderate snows across South Dakota pick up. We've got the winds starting to pick up a little bit down into western South Dakota by Tuesday morning already. And then the other thing to note as we go into the morning, and actually more so into the afternoon and evening hours as I continue to move this along. Here's the afternoon time frame. More freezing rain down in southwestern parts of Minnesota. Light to moderate snows down here as well. Snows starting to pick up all across the western central parts of North Dakota, South Dakota as well. But as I said, we got to keep an eye on these winds. Note the winds as we step through this. And as we get into the evening hours, Tuesday evening around 6 p.m., notice how these winds start to pick up. Particularly, these are actually east to southeasterly winds. So overnight, Monday night, this is Monday night, 6 p.m., and we're starting to pick up 30, 35 miles per hour. And that's about where we're starting to see that freezing rain, right? That icing. Not a good deal. Not, we're already talking about potentially, as we get into the evening hours in particular, that potential for seeing maybe some power outages, some tree branches down in some of these areas as the winds pick up, and some of these areas start to get accumulating ice down into probably more so into west central, southwestern parts of Minnesota. I think this will be a little more snow, kind of a snow transition to rain type of deal. I think maybe the more so the freezing rain will be a little bit further back to the west. But nevertheless, even if you get some freezing drizzle or sleet and you get some of these winds on top of it, we're talking about the possibility of just maybe some scattered power outages even as we go through the night, Monday night, and into early Tuesday morning. So here we are at midnight, winds starting to pick up even more so. And then once we get to about 6 a.m. On Tuesday morning, 35, 40 miles per hour. And then the snow by that point and everything else. Whoops. Oh boy, I'm way off here. I'm sorry. By 6 a.m. Tuesday, there we go. That matches up. I don't know. I'm getting all mixed up here. Sorry. We got the freezing rain down here in the southwestern parts of Minnesota. We're starting to get those stronger winds starting to drive a little more so by Tuesday morning. By noon, that the snow continues, or that freezing rain and that freezing drizzle kind of continues to move northward. The stronger winds really start to get cranking by noon, 35, 45 miles per hour down into southern and central parts of Minnesota. And like I said, look at where some of that freezing rain, some of that freezing precip is already taking place. And really by that point, here's some of the projected ice accumulations. And as I said before, kind of up and down that Buffalo Ridge area is kind of the main culprit. And then just beyond that is where some of you areas are going to be picking up some icing in through by noontime on Tuesday. Then as we get into Tuesday evening by 6 p.m., that area of rain and snow and freezing rain continued to move to the northeast. And now by 6 p.m. on Tuesday, the snow and everything really gets going. And we might even see a little bit of thunder snow in some of this, maybe some thunder sleet associated with this Monday or Tuesday evening. The winds are really starting to roar in western parts of South Dakota. And so I would very much expect by this point, by Tuesday night, we're probably going to be talking about blizzard conditions down and through South Dakota. You can see by Tuesday evening, the snow, the light to moderate snow has now moved into northern parts of North Dakota, northwest Minnesota. A little bit lighter still in northwest North Dakota, but many of these areas by Tuesday evening in particular, pretty much, across a good chunk of the Dakotas is going to be having light, moderate snow, and it's going to be piling up fairly quickly. Now, I did mention the winds, like I said. Note the winds out ahead of this, and then here comes the stronger wind starting to crank on the back side of this. Now, the good thing about all that, as we move this along by 6 p.m. and we get to midnight, Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, is look at the winds here. All the winds are really confined. The northwesterly winds are really confined down in the southwestern parts of South Dakota. And then here's our easterly winds as this low continues to circulate around, right? By this point, by midnight, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, little more transition over to snow for the most part. Still some freezing precip now starting to make its way into northeastern parts of Minnesota, right? Here's some of the ice accumulations. Most of it still remains down in the southwest, maybe a little bit now picking up in the northeastern parts of Minnesota, but by and large, most of the ice accumulation down in the southwestern part of the state. And then we've got the winds associated with it. So Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, maybe the problem's going to be transitioning over into northeast Minnesota, but really the blizzard's going to be stuck down in southwest Minnesota. Then as we get into Wednesday morning, most of those winds are starting to decrease a little bit on the front side, but the back side of it, the blizzard probably continues on by Wednesday morning down into southwestern parts of South Dakota. The snow continues on across the good parts of South Dakota, now into North Dakota as well. Notice that dry air that's now worked its way in. Many of these areas probably are going to transition for a bit back to that freezing drizzle. We probably got some light to moderate snow out ahead of this, and then right behind it, Wednesday morning, we're transitioning over to a little bit of drizzle before maybe some snow picks up a little bit just behind it into north central, northeastern parts of South Dakota. And then as we get to noon, Wednesday afternoon, still continuing to snow, that everything's transitioned now pretty much over to snow, maybe a little bit of freezing drizzle, just a little bit left up in the northwest parts of Minnesota by Wednesday at the right around afternoon. Light snow continues across western parts of the Dakotas. And then by Wednesday evening, guys, it just keeps lingering on. The good thing is most of the areas are the snow or the winds really aren't going to be that bad by this point once we get later into the day, particularly Wednesday, other than into South Dakota. South Dakota is going to be the main problem. Wednesday night, midnight, early Thursday morning, the snow, just the light stuff continues on. The freezing drizzle is probably pretty much gone by this point Wednesday night, but we're just getting some light snow across pretty much the entire region. And then by Thursday morning, more of the same. I think that those winds start to shift just a little bit more eastward into central and eastern parts of North Dakota by Thursday morning. So the winds kind of start to pick up a little bit throughout the day on Thursday. As we kind of continue that on, and we'll put this back into motion just a little bit, but as we get more into as we can see, Thursday, those winds continue to move eastward. The isobars are a little more compact. We'll take a look at the wind gusts here. And they, like I said, they start to shift just a little bit east. So it becomes that multi-day system. We're talking about Monday evening going through Tuesday, where we're going to pick up freezing rain, snow, a good chunk of that snow. By Wednesday, we're looking at a little bit lighter snow, but just snow that's going to continue to pile on to the stuff that we've already got. And then really we're looking at this at just some light snow, just some general light snow continuing even beyond. Here we are into Friday. That snow continues across Minnesota and into North Dakota. Saturday, going into Saturday, still just a little bit, probably some stronger northerly winds, 25 to maybe even 35 miles per hour throughout the day on Saturday, particularly across the Red River Valley. Not so bad out in the western parts of the Dakotas by this point. And then even as we get into Sunday, still just some light flurries and some light snow continuing, and it just never really completely goes away. But I think, the main time frame we're really looking at is as we go through Monday night, Tuesday, and then in through, we'll call it, a good chunk of Wednesday before at least the heavier snows and the freezing drizzle ends. But there's still going to be just plenty of problems down there. Like I said, I keep mentioning South Dakota, but they're going to be in for it down there. Really, they're going to get hit. So we'll kind of go back into and take a little bit closer look into the accumulations here. And we'll kind of blow that up so it's more visible. All right. Get my, this will look funny here. Ah, nothing behind me. We'll make me a little smaller. Left screen, there we go. All right, so back to this graphic. 15 to 22 inches between Pierre and Rapid City. You guys, you're going to get nailed out there along the Badlands. And that's kind of the same area where we're looking at those strong northerly winds, 35, 45 miles per hour. Same areas we're probably going to be talking about blizzard conditions. And then along the northern parts of the Black Hills as well, right? These areas in the purple, we're looking at that 10 to 15 inch range right now. So Pierre, Mobridge, just kind of sneaking up to that, Ashley, Ellendale, and then up to just kind of poking up into Bismarck, and then possibly just nicking Dickinson as well. Maybe not quite up to Williston. But you guys here, this is where we're looking at the best chance for that 10 to 15 inch mark. And then some winds with it, but not terrible. But I think that obviously travel conditions are going to be a problem, especially when you talk about, some of these areas in through here are going to have maybe just a little layer of ice first on top of it, and then we drop some snow on. So road conditions are not going to be good at all, obviously. These areas in blue, we're talking 6 to 10. So from Minot down to that Hazen, Beulah area, Carrington, Rugby, Grand Forks, Fargo, Edgeley, Hankinson, close to roughly Aberdeen, down through Chamberlain, we're kind of in that 6 to 10 range. 4 to 6 in this light blue. So in between Sioux Falls, Aberdeen, so Huron, Brookings, Alexandria, Redwood Falls, up to Bemidji, up through Ely. Then we've got that's kind of that 6 to 10 inch band again, right around Duluth, particularly across the North Shore. It's probably got the best chance for picking up that 6 to 10 inches, just because you're going to get some lake enhancement, obviously, with that. And then it drops off. We've got the 2 to 4 here in the green and 2 or less in the yellow. Now, this area that I got in the yellow circle here, that's kind of the area where I'm the least comfortable as to how much snow is going to be picked up. Yeah, you guys got a lot of tree branches down last year. Yeah, maybe you won't get any tree branches down. The storms in the summer took care of them all anyway, right? That's pretty funny. But this is kind of that area where, if you're making decisions, particularly, up and through probably this region, try to just hold off as long as you can and just see what happens, especially by like Tuesday morning. Let's see what Tuesday morning brings, see if it's snowing or what the road conditions are like, as to what kind of decisions you're going to make for the remainder of the day. But this is kind of the most uncertain area, because some of these areas could pick up, anywhere from, could pick up 1/10 of an inch of ice, or they might pick up, 8 inches of snow, or you might pick up, 2 inches of snow and maybe a little more ice than we were thinking. You've got a couple of things working against you. One is that freezing rain and the freezing drizzle that we were talking about, but also remember that dry air that gets pulled in. Where is that exactly going to set up? Where is that going to nose in? Where is that going to cut off the snow? And so these areas in through here, I'm a little nervous about as to exactly how much we're actually going to get when it comes to snow. So make sure you keep updated with my social media sites, because I'll update the graphics as new models come in, as I see different things, and I'll make sure to keep the graphics up to date on Facebook, Instagram. You can also find it here on my page and then on Twitter as well. And I'll share that again on my little chat, but don't forget, it's in the description down below. The ice accumulation, anywhere from a 1/4 inch, maybe up to that 1/2 inch mark along that Buffalo Ridge area. So kind of sweeping down through Brookings and down to or Watertown and down to Worthington, down in southwestern parts of Minnesota as to has that best chance for that icing. Anywhere around that, we're looking at a 1/10 to maybe a 1/4 of an inch, kind of around that region as well. And remember, we're going to be picking up some of those stronger easterly winds as we go through the night Tuesday night, or as we go through the day Tuesday. And then all these areas in green have the possibility at least of seeing some freezing drizzle. The best chance really looks to be probably within this region. Has got the best chance for picking up some freezing drizzle, and then of course up and through here as well. So those are kind of the main areas we really got to watch out for, where the roadways are really going to become slick. And even if, you know, visibility is as you get some of these snow squalls move through, like I was talking about, what night was it? Tuesday night. You know, where we could be talking about some heavy snows, some thunder snow, thunder sleet even. So you might be driving, and even though the winds aren't that terrible, all of a sudden, bam, you run into a band of snow and you can't see, right? And it's snowing on top of an area that has, you know, an area of freezing drizzle on top of it already. So, so that's where it really becomes dangerous in through that Tuesday through Tuesday night time frame. And then we've got the winter storm watches here all in blue. That's all going to change. We're going to probably see some blizzard warnings down into southwest Minnesota, or South Dakota rather. Very likely all these will turn over to winter storm warnings at some point. I would suspect some more watches being added here and there as well. But that's kind of what is out at this point. So make sure you tune in or find your local National Weather Service just for your start and end times as to when these winter storm watches are. A lot of shifting. I think we're pretty set in the track itself. A lot of times what the problem becomes is the models really trying to figure out how much warm air is associated, is really out there, right? That's going to be ultimately the tricky part. And then also how to, I gotta click on a couple things here, hold on. These models have been having a problem tonight, so I've got to update them here a little bit. The models kind of have a hard time really figuring out exactly how much warm air is in there, where the freezing temperatures are going to be. So that is ultimately going to be the problem. I think the track is set pretty good at this point. There might be just a little tiny shift west a little bit, meaning slowing down just a little bit. But ultimately it's trying to figure out where that warm air is going to be and where that dry air is going to come in a little bit later. And that's ultimately, unfortunately, that's where the models struggle the most. And that's why I've kind of got that area in yellow outlined in through there, across eastern Dakotas, western Minnesota. So what are the chances of whiteouts? I think down in southwest, South Dakota, obviously really good. Where you're talking, Schrodinger, west central Minnesota. It's going to be close, I think, particularly late Tuesday into that Tuesday evening. So we'll kind of call it Tuesday from 2 p.m. to maybe 9 p.m. would be about your best chance where you could maybe see that whiteout conditions, because you're still going to be seeing those strong easterly winds at that point. And then we're going to be seeing some pretty good snows moving through you at this point, and that's kind of where we're talking about that possibility of that thunder snow where you're picking up 1, 2, 3 inches of snow an hour. So it happens quickly, right? And so I think that's probably your best chance as to seeing some whiteout conditions. We'll see how strong the winds get Friday. I really think the visibilities are going to drop Friday once this low finally starts to move off. But we'll have to take a little bit closer look at that as that time approaches. That's a little bit out there yet. What other questions? I can't decide, John, if I want the models to move further east or west. More snow or more ice? I don't like ice. I think you'd want to move it east. I think, when you're talking about ice, you're dealing with power outages and you don't want that, right? And it's just, roads are just horrible after that. And they're slippery. And, now not only do you have, all this, not only do you have all the snow, now you've got a layer of ice underneath it. And like I said, then you worry about just power outages and all that kind of crummy stuff. So me personally, I think I'd rather deal with the snow. Yeah, and that's the other, Barbara says, I already got bread, eggs, milk, French toast, all that kind of fun stuff. And that's kind of the tricky thing. That's the problem with the storm is it starts Monday night, runs through Tuesday. We continue to have snow Wednesday as well. That continues to pile up as we go through the day in some areas on Wednesday still. So especially into central, northeast South Dakota, southeast North Dakota as well. And then a little bit out in the northwestern parts of North Dakota on Wednesday. So it becomes that multi-day storm day, that becomes the problem. And then eventually the winds start to pick up a little bit on top of this. So the good thing is at least it's going to be a very wet snow. So maybe once these winds do shift eastward by Friday, maybe not as much blows around as normally, just because it's going to stick, it's going to stick more than some of that lighter stuff. But nevertheless, it's just another thing to be concerned about. It was 29 icy, Scott. Oh, good. It was dry. Oh yeah. That was one thing I was going to check out is just see what the latest. Make sure if you got any specific questions across the Dakotas and Minnesota, let me know. It's so much easier to, I can go through all this and I don't want to bore people. Yeah, hope the lights stay on. You might want to get a snowblower, Jonathan, or find somebody who can come help you out because you're probably going to need it. Let's see here. Check out the roads. Yeah, it looks like roads, pretty much everything's green. We got some yellow between Steele and Jamestown on I-94, a little bit of yellow from Devil's Lake, between Devil's Lake and Grand Forks around Larimore. What is this? This is scattered frost around Devil's Lake, but mostly, and it's kind of scattered frost up in the northeastern part of North Dakota. But mostly the roads look pretty good in North Dakota. Minnesota. Yep, pretty much everything's green. We got a little bit of light snow on the roadways between Fergus Falls and Detroit Lakes. But otherwise, everybody's good there right now. And down in South Dakota. Boom, boom. Road condition. South Dakota, I don't like their road conditions. It's so small, it's hard to see. But it looks like some scattered icy, slippery spots around the Mitchell-Salem, not quite to Sioux Falls. But otherwise, I think everybody else is good. We've got some low visibility up in the northeastern parts of South Dakota that's causing some problems up there. Yeah, I wish I had some people from that were in charge of like the school closures and stuff, and there's a few people I'd like to say just wait till Tuesday. Don't cancel until Tuesday for some of you, just because don't be so quick on the trigger. Let's just see for sure what happens. I think, especially as I've pointed out before, especially kind of in this area in through here, You can always cancel Tuesday morning. Let's just see what happens overnight Monday night. Southeast Minnesota getting freezing rain. It looks like we'll be getting mostly rain. Yeah. It'll be mostly rain. I think you'll get maybe a little shot Tuesday, late Tuesday evening, probably. We'll call it Tuesday evening. And then as that system continues to wind up, it continues to pull in more warm air down south of it and pushes all the precip, obviously further north. And it kind of transitions maybe from the little bit of freezing rain, freezing drizzle over to a little bit of rain, and then it should warm up after that. So yeah, really southeast Minnesota is looking really good. Not much for problems down there. Oh, low pressure headaches. I'm getting a headache just trying to keep track of everything and figure out exactly how to best translate everything that is going on, because there's so much going on. It's fun. For me, it's absolutely fun. And I've got my notes here. I really should take a look. I love storm chasing. That's fun. But I really kind of do enjoy breaking down big winter storms like this, because it's a puzzle, right? And if you like doing puzzles, man, drink lots of fluids. If you like puzzles, that's what I really love about these big winter storms is it's a puzzle trying to figure out when's the warm air going to be there, when's the cold air going to be there, when's the transition, how much snow, how does all that translate? So that's the fun part about all this. It's amazing how much I really do enjoy it when it comes to the winter stuff. I don't like it on the ground. I don't like it when it's happening to me, but it is fun kind of forecasting. Schools here in FM, West Fargo already planned. Yeah, I'm sure they are. That's the thing. The hard part is for some of you guys, like as we get into the day on Tuesday, it's going to really pick up. So maybe could you just release school early on Tuesday, have a half a day? I guess if, a lot of people have remote learning nowadays, so maybe it's just worth doing that and just not even worrying about it. Tuesday really becomes, kind of that question mark on what to do, because when is that snow going to move through? And as you look at this is 3 p.m. and these are some pretty good rates really in through here. All across these parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota. So, and like I said, this is by 3 p.m. So, if that does indeed happen, then some of these areas a little bit further south obviously is going to be picking up the snow. You're going to want to close a little bit sooner. But what about you guys up in the north? Can you wait a little bit? Because it doesn't really reach you until the evening hours. So maybe you can get through the school day. It's kind of one of those deals. And then also, for you guys back in the northwestern parts of North Dakota as well, you don't really get a ton of the heavy snow. You just get persistent snow. And so we're talking about days and multiple days, and it doesn't take much to pick up, 4 to 6 inches for you guys up there. So again, is it worth shutting down school up there? That's why I said there's a couple of spots I wish I could just say, hey, just wait and see what happens. Now, and then then the question becomes Wednesday. How much are the winds and what's on the ground going to affect the roadways? And so that kind of becomes the other day. I think by Wednesday, you got to kind of wait and see what it looks like for you when you wake up in the morning, because ultimately Wednesday's really not going to change much. So what you kind of start off the day with, you're probably that's kind of what your day is going to be. So if you're getting a little bit of light snow, you're probably going to get light snow the rest of the day. If the winds aren't bad, probably aren't going to pick up a whole lot for the rest of the day on Wednesday. Just trying to see if there's any part in this tri-state area where that might not be true. I guess maybe the only area might be in these farther northern areas where it might actually improve through the day on Wednesday. Where we're talking about maybe some moderate snows lightening up throughout the morning. And yeah, like I said, ask questions. I'd love to answer the questions. It's so much easier to answer a specific question, a specific location. So that way I know who's following along. And if you are here, hey, don't be afraid to say hi. Hit the on the chat button, say hi down below. Let me know where you're watching from if you haven't already. Don't be shy. Subscribe to the channel, and that way all you got to do is subscribe for 1 minute on the channel, and you can say hi down below. You can ask questions, and everybody else on the chat can say hi to you. I'm just going to kind of run through my notes here a little bit. You want to see my snowman again? Noon, heavy snow. In Rapid City, I-90 corridor in Rapid. Yeah. So, because we have these, essentially these strong northerly winds running over the top of sort of the Black Hills area, if you notice, I pull it back up again. Where is it? That one? Nope. Stand by. I don't know why that's doing that. That's weird. If you notice down here, just along Rapid City and southward, there's a little bit of a hole there, right? And that's because essentially the higher elevation here, the Black Hills, that kind of noses in there, and we have those northwesterly winds. All the snow, all the precip really gets wrung out north of the hills. So you've got all that overrunning over the top of the Black Hills, and it dumps all this ton of snow up by Spearfish. And then you've got subsidence. You've got a downward moving air on the leeward side of the hills here. So that creates this little pocket where we're only talking about, gosh, it might even be less than 6 inches in some of these areas, really. I mean, it might be closer to the 4 to 8 range. Down in through that Rapid City. Now, obviously, as you travel further east of Rapid, you're getting nailed, you know, in between that Rapid and down by south up here. So it quickly changes. But ultimately, you know, that pocket down there is because of these hills. The hills wrings out all that moisture. We've got downward, we got sinking air on the other side of the Black Hills. So that kind of is what creates that pocket down there. And that's why really Rapid City won't be as bad as the surrounding areas. In fact, let's take a look. Just take a look and see what the actual model says. Yeah, some it even says as low as 2 inches just south of the Black Hills. So really a deep pocket there where you might not get much snow at all. As you get closer to Rapid City, I still think you're probably still talking close to that 6 to 10 inch mark though. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it. Pennington. Oops. Okay. So Thief River, kind of the Pennington area. That's not what I want. Yeah, Thief, Pennington, you guys, let's see here. Back to the model. Gotta figure out where I'm at here. So for Pennington, we're looking at, the freezing drizzle starting Monday night, persisting into Tuesday morning, probably into a good part of Tuesday morning. It's really not until after 2-3 p.m. until the snow really starts to get cranking. Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. Here you can see by 6 p.m. Just starts to make it into Pennington up to Thief there, and then when that's where we're talking about maybe the possibility, maybe of some thunder sleet, some thunder snow, where we're picking up 1, 2, 3 inches of snow quickly over the course, 1 to 3 inches an hour over the course of a couple hours there, and then once we get kind of past, we'll say 3 a.m. Wednesday morning, then it looks like the snows begin to lighten up. And then the remainder of Wednesday, we're probably looking back at the freezing drizzle for a little bit throughout the day on Wednesday. Maybe kind of a switch from freezing drizzle to snow back and forth. So the roads really aren't going to be, that great if that freezing drizzle continues to hang in there. And then probably some snow as we get Wednesday night into Thursday. Oh, Pennington. Oh, I thought you were talking Pennington. I thought you were talking Pennington County. Pennington, just actual Pennington. So where's that? By Cass Lake. Beach Lake. Is that where you're talking? West of Grand Rapids, between Bemidji and kind of east of Bemidji? Minneapolis? Pennington, Minneapolis. You're saying Bloomington? If we're looking at Minneapolis, not much. If you're around the Twin Cities area, we got a little bit of freezing drizzle, probably starting Tuesday morning, and then maybe picking up to a little bit of freezing drizzle and some freezing rain and sleet late Tuesday after about 2 to 3 p.m. And then once we get to about probably 7 or 8, it transitions to some rain. And then it pretty much ends after that. And then we're probably looking at maybe some light snow by Wednesday night into Thursday. Oh, Mary Pennington. I knew there was a Pennington County, and I knew there was a small little place called Pennington. I don't know why. I just saw big caps Pennington. Okay, Minneapolis. So yeah, so Minneapolis, freezing drizzle Tuesday, probably some sleet to freezing rain late Tuesday, and then by Tuesday evening, it's going to end. Twin Cities, yep. So that's where we're talking. Oh God, I keep clicking the wrong thing here. So Twin Cities, we're probably looking at, we'll say 1 to 3 inches of snow, and that's mostly on the backside. This is mostly through the day on Thursday, where the cold air finally begins to work in. So probably some slick days a little bit before that, and then there's going to be just a brief. There's going to be a period where you're really not going to get much, and then probably more so Thursday you're going to be picking up a little bit of light snow. Yeah, I need more coffee. I'll just drink this Coke. Wow. Mary Pennington, Minneapolis, not Pennington County, not Pennington, the little town by Bemidji. I do need more coffee. There's Bemidji. Someone asked about Blue Moon. Blue Moon's around. So yeah, Blue Moon, Bemidji. We're looking right now at that 4 to 6 inch mark for you guys there in Bemidji. Probably looking at, like I said, again, looking at freezing drizzle Tuesday morning. Picking up probably some sleet a little bit late Tuesday after 3 or 4, and then probably some heavy snows after 6 p.m., kind of between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. And so that's probably where that's the main part where you're going to be picking up a good chunk of that snowfall. where we're looking at that 4 to 6 mark. So is going to be Tuesday night into very early Wednesday morning. And then you get a little bit after that kind of throughout, probably more so as we get into Thursday. You're going to be picking up probably another 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow as you go through the day on Thursday. So that kind of that helps stack on top. So by that Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, you might pick up 2 to 4 inches, we'll say 3 to 5 inches. And then by Thursday, you might pick up another inch or two. So that's where that 4 to 6 comes from. Yeah, roughly about the same thing for Brainerd, probably just the time sped up a little bit. Brainerd, you're looking a little more maybe in between 1 to, we'll say 1 to 4 o'clock, somewhere within that time frame on Tuesday when that snow and that sleet begin to hit. And that's kind of when you're going to be picking up a good chunk of your snowfall, and then a little bit more so on Thursday again. You'll get another inch or 1 or 2 inches for that Brainerd area. So really pretty similar to what I just said with Bemidji. Just the timing sped up by a couple hours. Sioux Falls, it looks like Sioux Falls, you've got a little bit of, maybe a little bit of freezing drizzle, freezing rain Monday night. But the good thing is you're dealing with a lot of warm air for a good chunk of it. So I think you're probably going to be on that line between the freezing rain and rain mark. But I think at this point, I think it's probably going to be more rain than the freezing rain for you guys. You're just kind of right on that border. But I think you'll probably pick up at least a little bit of freezing drizzle to start. And then you guys get kind of that break as we get into Tuesday with that dry air intrusion that gets pulled in here. And then the snow eventually starts to work its way back Tuesday night into Wednesday. Please like, subscribe down below, share this page, share this video, share this live feed so that others can come on here and find it and ask questions and all that kind of fun stuff. Become a member. That way, that helps obviously very much support the channel. That helps me out. I'll try to, as I continue to grow more members, I'll get more information out exclusively out to you guys. Plus you get your name on the little videos every day. But if you don't want to do that, just do a little super chat once in a while. Hit the little $sign down by the chat or a super thanks, whatever. I don't ever ask for that, but this is the first time I've ever said that. But to just maybe just once in a while, that's one way to just kind of donate $2, $5, whatever you feel like it. Is if you hit the little $sign down below the chat area, and then it'll kind of walk you through the process there. But like I said, I don't. The first time I've ever mentioned that, and I thought, well, I'll just give it a go. I don't know. I'm just kind of following along what I read from other places that says, don't forget to mention it. So the main thing is just like and subscribe. That really helps my channel out. The more you do that, the more this channel gets noticed. So that's the main thing. In through Grand Forks here, Wednesday, I think we're going to be in between that freezing drizzle and maybe some light snow. I think mainly through Thursday is what we're talking about for that lingering. As we go kind of step through here, you can see Thursday, still get a little bit of light snow, and then eventually it kind of tapers off a little more as we get into Friday. It's pretty light as we get into Friday. We still got a little bit of light stuff maybe, but boy, most of the accumulations happen obviously before that, but this thing just doesn't. We get a little bit Thursday, then we get a little bit Friday, I guess, then maybe a little more Saturday. it doesn't really move off because we have this blocking feature out to our east, so that's why this low just takes its time moving out of there. And really, beyond Thursday, you might pick up an inch or two, or beyond Wednesday, I should say. Most of these areas in the eastern Dakotas, Minnesota, you might pick up an inch or two on Thursday, then maybe another inch or two on Friday. So it just stacks up after a little bit. And, I think by the end of the week, you're just going to be tired about it. Thanks, Schrodinger. Depends on where you're looking there. Cheese it. It ultimately really gets going Monday night and into Tuesday. Tuesday is really the day that everything really gets cranking between the freezing rain and the heavy snow. Tuesday into Tuesday night is when a good chunk of that snowfall is going to occur, when a good chunk of that freezing rain is going to occur. So that's the main time frame, Tuesday through Tuesday night. But if you got a specific place you're talking about, I love Cheez-It. Let me know. Hey, the other thing, let me know what else you want to see. Let me know what I can do better. I'm always up for constructive criticism. Just the more I learn, and obviously the better I can be, the more helpful I can be. Let's have it. I'm always up for that too. Other than that, hello Ray, Grand Marais. You guys have had just days of garbage up there, haven't you? Just you've had freezing drizzle and snow, and I'm just, boy, it's been kind of miserable up there from what I've understood. 1 second on Grand Marais. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let me check something out. I want to check on the moisture here. Morning. So it looks like for you, things kind of get cranking Tuesday night around midnight. We're talking about maybe starting off with a little bit of freezing rain, but then probably quickly transitioning over to moderate snow for Grand Marais early Wednesday morning. And then this is about 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. And then noontime, obviously, we're continue to have probably light to moderate snow throughout the afternoon hours. Then we get to Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Starts to lighten up a little bit. Then finally by later in the night, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, just some light stuff lingering across the North Shore. So that's really the main time when you're going to be hit up there is Tuesday night. Mostly after midnight and probably until about 3 p.m. on Wednesday. When do you think that winds will impact the most? So this is Tuesday evening, and we've got those strong southeasterly winds driving in with that freezing rain and that freezing precip. We've got the strong northwesterly winds down in southwestern parts of South Dakota with all the snow causing the blizzard conditions. As we get into Wednesday morning, that stronger winds begin to push off to the northeast. So, Ray, I guess that's the other thing I should mention is once that snow hits, probably also going to be dealing with a good chunk of some blowing going on as well. Some 35, 40 mile per hour winds, maybe 45 mile per hour winds even up and through there. And then they do decrease as we go through the day on Wednesday. And then those winds just kind of hang down in southwestern parts of South Dakota Thursday. Here we are going into Friday, and Friday night, it looks like it picks up a little bit more to the east, at least according to this model. And then it kind of dumps off as we get a little bit later into Saturday. So I'm a little surprised as to the lack of wind, really. I still kind of think, given from what some of the things I've seen, particularly as we go into Friday, as I look at this type of setup and kind of the northerly winds going down the pipe, going right down the valley, not a real great setup. I think this is probably the main time where we're going to be picking up winds of 30 miles per hour. So probably we're looking late morning into late morning Friday into late morning Saturday as to probably the stiffest times for the winds across the valley. Hoping for 2 feet. I don't know why you would hope for 2 feet. I think you're being sarcastic, Bob, but that's just my hunch. Yeah, updates. I don't know if I'll get one out tomorrow. My daughter does have a basketball game. It's an hour away. Don't know how the roads will be. Hopefully the freezing drizzle is going to hang off. Up in the northwestern parts of Minnesota. So right now we're scheduled to have a game. So I don't know when I'll be back on Monday evening. I will make sure to get graphics updated as much as I can. The other thing to look for probably Tuesday is just a live feed. I'll have the radars going. I'll have satellite. I'll have road conditions up. And then I'll be just kind of active on the chat. So as we got questions, I'll be active on the chat and answering questions there. If I'm able to be home while this is going on, I'll check in on Twitter. So if you have any reports as we go through this over the next couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, send me reports, social media, Facebook. Again, I'll put it up on the old chat once more. Actually, I wouldn't mind if it looked like life on another planet, like on Hoth. Are you talking Star Wars? Are you a Star Wars fan? But I think on Tuesday I'll probably have all that kind of stuff going. But send me reports, send me pictures, videos on Twitter, Facebook, and I'll try to get them up on the feed as we go throughout the day. So just be paying attention on there, as I'll have a live feed going probably on Tuesday. Thomas. Oops. Thomas? North Dakota? Not Thompson? Are you talking Thomas? Where's Thomas at? What is Thomas nearby? Or are you talking Thompson? Yeah, live is Monday all the way to Friday. Whew. I think my computer would burn up probably. Also, if you just want to be on the chat, just to chat, that's all fine and dandy with me too. I could sit here for a bit. But yeah, St. Thomas, Northern Graft. Northern Grace, you're just all on top of this. St. Thomas. Northern Grafting. Gotcha. I'm slow. Okay, so north of Grafton, west of Drayton. Gotcha. Let's see here. Hmm, 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 hmm. Back to that. So, very similar to Grand Forks here. Not a whole lot of difference, but you're probably talking about some freezing possibility at least of some freezing drizzle starting Monday evening. So we're talking closer to that 6 p.m. time frame, and that could kind of linger around for you up there. Probably, boy, until more, as we get into later in the day Tuesday, where we could just see that fog and that freezing drizzle, and then it kind of, it's more until later Tuesday. It's probably after about 2 o'clock until those snow starts to hit for you up there. Probably even closer to 3, the way the models are showing. By the time the snow hits, and once it hits up there, I think it's going to be, it's going to come down in a hurry. So we're going to kind of transition up in this area, up in this neck of the woods in Grand Forks and up in St. Thomas and Grafton and all that. It's going, freezing drizzle, and then all of a sudden, bam, we're probably going to turn right over to that moderate snow for a while. And then overnight, Tuesday night and through Wednesday morning, this is, we're looking at 3 a.m. and this is 6 a.m. now. So really by 6 a.m. it looks like more so that snow will kind of move off. We might transition back to that freezing drizzle. So then Wednesday is going to be kind of that rock back and forth from some freezing drizzle and snow. So the roads might stay slick throughout the day on Wednesday. We might not pick up a ton of snow on Wednesday, but the roads may stay slick. And then as we get into Thursday, then Friday and Saturday, we're going to be picking up maybe just a little bit of an inch on Thursday, an inch or two on Friday, an inch or two on Saturday, and it just never really seems to go away. But that's kind of the timing for what we're looking at, kind of for that St. Thomas area. Yeah, I'll be live. Like I said, for sure, I'll be live Tuesday, and I'll have the radars, the satellite, road conditions, and I'll have just kind of everything on a loop. Hopefully, maybe I can make a video to kind of loop in there once in a while, and then I'll be active on the chat. If it gets bad enough that I'm just stuck at home, then I'll pop on live once in a while, and you'll see my pretty face. But I'll make sure to be active. I'll be on the chat, but. And then, like I said, if you want, please, I would love to see reports how much snow you get, and everybody wants to know. Let's make this a community. Let's make this a community live stream. Get my words out. Make this a community live stream, because the more people participate and send pictures and reports, and this is what I'm seeing, the better, because it's just so much better to have ground truth out there. I can tell you what the forecast is going to be. I can look at road conditions, and there's certain things, but it helps so much more when I've got actual people telling me one way or another, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Hey Brad, the roads suck here, or hey Brad, I can't see more than a block down my road here. Whatever it is, send me a picture. Obviously, videos and pictures are worth 1,000 words. So. That is tremendous, and thanks, Rockabilly Kitten. I love doing this, so this is awesome. I'm glad everybody's on here. So the more people we can reach out to, so just hit the thumbs up button. That helps. Share this page. Obviously, that helps a lot. Even subscribing does wonders for the channel. So the more we can get this out there, the better. And then people are just stay informed. But yeah, that's kind of the plan for Tuesday. I typically don't. I just kind of stick to the Dakotas and Minnesota. What specific question, Toby, did you have? What day, where at? What's the concern? Yeah, I a lot of times don't, but I mean, if nobody else has any other questions around here, I could take a peek at something out west. I say I stick to Dakotas and Minnesota because that's where I've worked and lived all my life, so that's what I know. Apparently, I don't know where St. Thomas is. Actually, I do. After you said St. Thomas, I'm like pretty sure I've storm chased up there once, but that's been a lot of years ago. Yeah, I just didn't know if he had a specific question as to where exactly. Like I said, it always helps just to, where exactly are you looking, or, and what do you want to know? Oh, okay. Mirrors, Arizona Monday. There's supposed to be a bad snowstorm, and I want to see how bad it's going to be. Yeah, up. Oh gosh, hold on. Where is Mountain again? Mountain. Gosh, where was that? Mountain. So yeah, just northwest of St. Thomas. So a month before I was supposed to get married, or a month before I did get married, I should say. Back in '99, Mountain got hit with a EF4 tornado. And yeah, I went out there and storm chased it. So yeah, when you said St. Thomas, I'm like pretty sure I was in St. Thomas, backed out of it, and started driving down here. And I was a little ways from that one in Mountain, but I saw a number of other ones close to that Garter area. But so that's yeah, a month before I was getting married, and my wife now, my fiance at the time was like, "You're doing what?" Thanks, Schrodinger. Let's see. So Arizona Monday. Down in Arizona. Yeah, looks like, looks like you guys up in the northeast and central, up in those higher elevations, are going to get plenty of snow on Monday. Looks like it kind of tapers off a little bit Monday night, maybe some light snow Tuesday, but yeah, ultimately it looks like you're kind of getting hit up there on throughout the day on Monday. Let's see if it has an idea. On. Let's see, kind of checking around. Nope. Multiple winter weather advisories out for down in Arizona. Just a matter of where. 1 to 4 inches, 2 to 8, 2 to 10. That's quite a range. Areas above 5,000 feet near Alpine, Pine Top, Lakeside, Sholo, and White River, 2 to 8 inches. So areas above 5,000 feet. The mountains down there, that's a tricky one. So it just kind of depends on where you're looking, but because it's obviously it's going to vary so much. But there's kind of the overall totals. Maybe I can zoom in a little more. Show low 7.5, Flagstaff 5.5. You got near 10 inches in some of these higher elevations. 4 a little bit closer to Gallup. Prescott maybe closer to 2. And yeah, I think most, if not all of that, was occurring on Monday. Yep. Pretty much on Monday, most of that snow was happening down in Arizona. Don't go by this. This is just, yeah, there. It's a little more indicative of what one model wants to say for North Dakota. Yeah, I chased more when my kids were younger for some reason. I don't know why, but I don't quite as much anymore. I think part of the reason is they're just, man, it's kind of sucked around here the last few years. The storms have sucked. We've had some interesting ones, but we don't have those ones where it's like, here it is in this box. This is where you want to be. It's been a few years since we've had that. We had, to me, the closest one was not last summer, the summer before. Let's see, down here, there was a tornado, and I just got back from vacation. I was just like, I can't go. I can't go. I know there's going to be something there, but I can't go. And sure enough, there was just a beautiful, beautiful tornado out there, out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it was pretty. That, if you guys remember that Ashby one in Minnesota, why is it in between Alex and Fergus, I think? That day was kind of one of those days where we had chased the day before, and so I was like, I don't know if I'll go out again. The more I started looking at it, I'm like, God, this is looking good. This is looking good. And I didn't go just because I felt bad, because I had left work the day before, and sure enough, just a picturesque tornado down there. And then largely all these other ones that come through that spin up these little tornadoes, it's been these lines, right? You guys through Otter Tail County know what I'm talking about. Dang, last year you guys had, where'd this go? How many lines of storms did you guys have going through you that took out trees? Who said it a little bit earlier on this chat that said we don't have any trees left from the summer? Those are so hard to chase because you're trying to stay out ahead of it. You don't know where a tornado is going to occur. I mean, you have to get lucky really with those types of systems. So, and it seems like that's really what we've had a lot of lately, is those straight line winds. Still kind of neat to see come through. They still have their own beauty to them. But obviously way more widespread destruction on them. So yeah, we've got a, yeah, big windbags is right. Big old windbags. That's what we had a lot of last year. So I'm just taking a look at one of the newer models here of a different model, but a newer one, just to see if the timing's about the same with everything. And it's pretty close. Yeah, it's real close. It's actually even this dry slot, which the models, this is the American model, so I'm kind of curious when the European model comes out, but did kind of has the dry slot in the same area. That dry air that's pushing in, and here you can kind of see on the sounding. So this is a profile of the sounding of the atmosphere. And the red's temperature and the green is your dew points. And obviously, anytime you have the temperature and the dew point close together, you're going to get fog, you're going to get clouds, you're going to get rain, right? And because we've got these temperatures and dew points so close together in between, here's your 0 degrees Celsius, so your freezing line, and your 10 degrees Celsius, minus 10 degrees. Anywhere in between there, you can get, you typically can get supercooled liquid, supercooled droplets in through there. So if you have clouds within that layer in between there, if you have fog, the particles aren't turned to snow. They're not turned to ice yet. They're still liquid. They're super cooled liquid. So what happens whenever they touch something, whenever these little tiny droplets come in contact to something, a road, a tree, electrical wire or something, it freezes on contact with it. And so that's where the freezing drizzle comes from. So notice we don't have, it's a little drier further up in the atmosphere. So that's why we're looking at potential for the freezing drizzle once again as we get into Wednesday. Well, good for you, Grace. Awesome. 26 years. Are you a ham radio operator too? Are there, and I don't know, are there a lot of ham radio operators out there still? I know they just had a, God, they just had a recognition for them lately. To where they brought in like the Skywarn spotters, the amateur radio guys in, and just kind of as an appreciation to them. Okay. Very cool. I'm going to click and see as we get into Friday. Let's do 12 hours. So this is just a rough, let's see, Saturday. This is just a rough estimate of potential snowfall for throughout the daytime on Friday. So that's why I said you get these little bit of snow, maybe an inch or two across to Minnesota, maybe 1 to 3 across northwestern parts of North Dakota on Friday. And then as we go through Saturday, through the afternoon, morning and afternoon, maybe another inch across Minnesota on Saturday. And then through Sunday, maybe another half inch, maybe an inch in some areas. So this just doesn't, it's not a big deal, but it's just kind of once, obviously after we've already had 6 inches of snow, we don't need 7 inches and 8 inches and 9 inches, and just, it doesn't need to keep piling up. Thanks for checking in, Rockabilly. Get back to work. Yep. Yeah. And thank you, Scott. Scott's been a member from the get-go. Very, very much appreciate Scott for everything he does. I owe him some clothing. Which I'm getting some ordered, by the way. Not necessarily to really sell on here, but just as for people like Scott and those who I very much appreciate all the support and everything, who are very early members and always supporting. I want to make sure and get some stuff out to you guys. But yeah, Scott's been a member right from the start, so I appreciate that. And I think he might be online more than I am. I don't know how you do it with 3 kids, Scott. I don't know what you do, but I think you might be on the computer more than I am. She gotta go after my dog. Good night, Schrodinger. Thanks for checking in. Have a good one. Stay safe. Check in on Tuesday. Let me know what you guys have seen. Let me know what your reports are. Send me pictures. Any other questions, guys? Oh, I kind of figured it must have been I figured it must be IT related. I kind of guessed that one. All right, I'm just going to wrap it up a little bit here. One more time before we leave. And we'll just kind of sign off from there. And just in case somebody's come on late and they're checking in and they don't want to ask any questions, they're scared to ask any questions. But we'll just kind of break it down one more time. Oh, is that right? Take care of servers for like regional, like around here? Is that why you moved here? Like Altru and Sanford and those guys? You're an important guy. Don't hack into my system. Maybe you should tell me how to make it secure. Maybe you've already hacked into my system. How would I know? I'm starting to ramble. Thanks, Kurt. Oh, Washington. You were the Minnesota. All right. Just going through things a little bit here one last time. I'll hit the record button. Okay, so we're starting off the day on Tuesday. Not a whole lot going on, right? As we kind of go through the day on Tuesday, we've got the possibility of some freezing drizzle starting to happen, particularly across central North Dakota, central Dakotas, eastern Dakotas, and down into kind of southwest Minnesota. So kind of right in through there. We've got the potential probably starting in the afternoon hours, but more so as we get into the evening, Monday evening, closer to 6 p.m., that some of these areas might pick up that freezing drizzle. So you're going to see some fog, some low clouds, and just some freezing drizzle sticking to the roadways. That's kind of how all this really gets going on Monday evening. By midnight, Monday night, early Tuesday morning, we see that moisture increase. So we're starting to see some rain and maybe some freezing rain down into south central, southeastern parts of South Dakota. Probably more so just this probably continues to be more the freezing drizzle type of precipitation. Maybe a little bit of freezing rain scattered in there, but I think for the most part by midnight, we're probably still going to be talking about some freezing drizzle. That snow starts to make its way into far western parts of South Dakota by midnight. And then it ramps up quickly, right? From midnight to 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, it really, really gets going. and this thing, it pulls out of the Rockies, and it just explodes. So now we've got some rain kind of down in through this part of South Dakota. We've got freezing rain, freezing drizzle, sleet, with the best chance kind of in that Buffalo Ridge area. So I don't know. I guess I used to call it the Sisseton Hills. I think it's called the Buffalo Ridge, the Coteau de Plains or something like that. Coteau de Plateau, up and through here. Best chance for seeing some freezing rain, some freezing drizzle, and picking up accumulation, significant accumulating ice. That's your best chance, and that's going to be early Tuesday morning. And then we're starting to pick up the moderate snows across the Dakotas. By noontime, the snows really start to get cranking across central parts of South Dakota, eastern South Dakota. That freezing rain line continues to push northeastward by noon on Tuesday. And then we start to pick up some snow a little bit further back in the northwestern parts of North Dakota. And then beyond that, some of these winds start to get cranking now down in South Dakota throughout the remainder of the afternoon on Tuesday. Here we are Tuesday evening by 6 p.m. And now we've got some strong, actually more northwesterly winds down in the north, down here in South Dakota. So we're talking 40, maybe 50 mile per hour winds or greater. The snows are really starting to pick up. So this is probably at this point, once we get to 6 p.m. Tuesday evening, likely we're going to start to be talking about those blizzard conditions down in that part of South Dakota. The snow by 6 p.m. now start to make it into far northern parts of North Dakota. So kind of, basically timing that out. Here's your noon time frame. There's some lighter snows, your more moderate snows. There's 3 p.m. Tuesday, kind of getting in through Fargo and northward. And then by 6 p.m. is now through that Thief River in through Bemidji, up north through Pembina, some moderate snows back through the James River Valley. And then the freezing rain and sleet, and probably we're looking at thunder, snow, thunder, sleet, and all that kind of fun stuff in through here by Tuesday night or Tuesday evening. And then we've got that dry slot in through here, that dry air that gets worked into this large system that it pulls this dry air all the way up from the south and into this and starts to kind of cut off some of the precipitation for a little bit in some of these areas once we get into Tuesday evening. Once we get by midnight, a little more dry air works its way a little bit further north, so it transitions probably from some light to moderate snows down to maybe some freezing drizzle. We go back to that freezing drizzle type of scenario as we get to midnight Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. For those of you up in the northeastern parts of Minnesota, your freezing rain and heavy snow kind of starts by midnight, just depending on timing and where you're at exactly. But obviously by midnight, it's beyond Duluth, and you're starting to, or it's through Duluth, and you're already starting to get that heavy snows in Duluth. We continue to see some light to moderate, maybe even some spotty, heavy snow still into central and western parts of South Dakota. We continue to have the strong winds back here. And then we continue to have light to moderate, light to spotty moderate across the remainder of parts of North Dakota. By Wednesday morning, dry air works a little bit further north. You could expect probably some freezing drizzle up and through here as we get into the start the day Wednesday morning. Whoops, don't mean to do that. But oh boy, then I really screwed it up. Wednesday morning, and so these areas in through here, we're looking at that light to moderate snows, and that'll continue to move northeastward throughout the morning Wednesday morning. And then really the remainder of this just kind of hangs there on Wednesday. There's not much of a change as we go through the remainder of Wednesday, other than this snow kind of moving off. This snow just kind of hangs here. This snow kind of hangs back here. We continue to have the strong kind of northwesterly winds back and through South Dakota, reducing visibilities on Wednesday. And then as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday, just kind of more of the same light snow. Pretty much by this point through the overnight hours, Wednesday night, I think we're pretty much cutting off the freezing drizzle, and we're just going to be seeing some areas of snow. So this main band that goes through on Tuesday, in through Tuesday night and in through the early parts of Wednesday up in the northeastern parts of Minnesota, that's kind of your main band where you're looking at picking up maybe upwards of 3 inches an hour of snow within that band that moves through over the course of a few hours. So You know, you figure if that main band of snow takes 3 hours to move through and you get 3 inches an hour, well, you could quickly pick up 9 inches of snow. It just depends on how heavy those bands are as they move through. So that'll be the main culprit. Once those move through, you're going to be picking up the bulk of your snow. And then as we go through Thursday and Friday and even into Saturday, Friday, continued light snow across Minnesota, North Dakota. Saturday, continued a little bit more light snow across Minnesota. Maybe a little bit into Sunday yet, but not much. So that's where I was talking a little bit earlier, where you're talking about you've got that. You know, you might be picking up a bulk of your snow where you're looking at 6 to 12 to whatever inches of snow. Or let's back up. Let's say 5 to 10 inches of snow, and then you add another inch the next day. So now you're 6 to 11, add an inch the other day. Now you're 7 to 12. It just, after a number of days, it's just all going to add up, obviously. But that Tuesday, Tuesday through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning is the main time when most of you will get that heavy snowfall. With probably the exception being down in South Dakota, where it looks like it's going to start Monday night and persist into probably parts of Tuesday night there. Yeah, Grace, I'm supposed to head to Bismarck next weekend. So I'm really banking on, if there's any road closures going on, that by Friday night, they'll be open. I think they will. I like I said, I'm hoping these winds aren't too bad on Friday. That's probably my main concern as I just think about traveling. Hopefully the winds stay down. The snowfall rates won't be that bad. It's just as long as the winds aren't there. Any other questions? Snowmen, forts. Yep, all that kind of fun stuff. I can't get my girls to go out and do that anymore. I don't think I could. They don't, they don't like going out and that stuff anymore. I think they're afraid I'm going to make them shovel, which I probably will. I probably would make them shovel. And then say, okay, now let's go make some snowmen. Yeah, the other thing, I guess, just we were talking, go back to this other model, talk about the wind gusts. We've got some strong winds picking up throughout the day on Tuesday, some southeasterly winds. So for some of you that are picking up some of that freezing rain, it just depends on how much you get. We might have some pretty strong southeast to easterly winds. So I'm a little concerned on Tuesday of picking of some power outages throughout the day, particularly kind of in this area where we're expecting the best chance for picking up that ice accumulation. So if you kind of live in that area, just keep that in mind for Tuesday. Just on top of those slick roads and all that other kind of garbage, might be talking about power outages there. Then obviously the strong northerly winds, northwesterly winds out in the western Dakotas, or South Dakota, I should say, on Tuesday night. Again, this continues to be kind of an southeasterly direction. This is more northwest as we go through Tuesday night. And then throughout the day on Wednesday, this is noon on Wednesday, so still some stronger southeasterly winds up in the northeastern parts of Minnesota, strong northwest down in South Dakota. This is by evening, Wednesday evening. Those winds up in here kind of have moved off. These continue on. And then as we move into Thursday morning, more wind down here. So just, boy, you guys down in that part of South Dakota, I just hunker down. Hunker down. Sure. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, temperatures for tomorrow. Here's our highs for tomorrow. By the way, this is what the Weather Service has. So we're looking at low 30s up in the north to kind of 29 gram array, low to mid 20s out in the western parts of North Dakota. And then, of course, the warmer air starts off the day on Monday. We're still, we've got some 40s down in this South Dakota. Let's see, Tuesday morning, your lows to start off the day. So early Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. This is your low temperatures. Everything obviously going to be starting off below freezing. Mid 20s, low to mid 20s up in the north. Teens, where you get that cold air really starts to filter into western parts of South Dakota by Tuesday morning already. High temperatures, again, as that band of freezing rain continues to lift northeastward and kind of transitions over to rain and maybe even just some drizzle, we're looking at highs in the low to mid 30s from South Dakota down into southern eastern portions of Minnesota. Wednesday morning lows, teens to single digits in the western parts of the Dakotas. Looks like mid to upper 20s out in the east. Your highs, surprisingly for Wednesday, not bad in some of these areas where we might get a little bit above freezing across Minnesota. Everywhere into South Dakota is going to be, or in through the Dakotas, going to be kind of in around 20 to maybe reaching freezing out in the far eastern parts of the eastern parts of the Dakotas. Boy, I'm losing it. Let's see. Thursday morning, single digits out west, teens and 20s. Thursday highs, teens and 20s. So we're starting to get colder on Thursday. Friday morning, single digits to negative up in the northwestern parts of North Dakota, teens up in the east. Friday's highs, teens to 20s. Saturday's lows, single digits or minus single digits, minus almost 10 up in the northwestern parts of North Dakota. Below zero all the way down into South Dakota, single digits out in the east. So really, really cold to start off your day on Saturday. And then your highs not getting much better for Saturday. Single digits up north, teens in the south. The weekend is looking cold. Obviously, once this system continues to track eastward, it's just going to continue to filter in cold air behind it. Then let's see, kind of get an idea beyond the weekend. Monday, more of the same, although this model typically is colder than most other models, but still plenty of cold air on Monday, obviously. Even poking in more so on Tuesday. Yeah, it takes a while to warm up the way it looks. Next week's not looking real great. Yeah, there's a big plunge of Arctic air comes diving through to start next week, the way it's looking right now. So once this system moves off, it's going to be cold. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate the $5. I will go get more caffeine. I was tired. I wanted a nap so bad today, and I didn't get one. I appreciate it, Scott. I think I just gotta slow down. I just gotta take it easy, man. I just gotta take it easy. Make this a little bigger. So, sorry if I'm on so much. I had a friend tell me the other day, I think she goes, I'm tired of seeing your face. Oh, extended into Christmas. Yeah, I kind of forget we're getting into that time of year already. But anyway, she told me, she goes, I'm getting tired of seeing your face. I'm like, oh, gee, thanks. She's like, no, she goes, every time you're on, she goes, obviously there's something bad coming. So she's like, she's tired of winter and they're trying to get out of town. My nephew, I might have to adopt it, but he called me. He said, let me back up. My godchild said I am the godfather of meteorology. So I thought that was pretty cool. I said, hey, I might have to adopt that, the godfather of meteorology. Let's see. Christmas. So we get into Christmas. This is, let's see. This is a long way out there, but what the heck? We'll take a look. So this is Christmas Eve. And it's nothing for storm for whatever that's worth. But it's looking cold. Looks like it's looking like Christmas is going to be cold at this point. Just early indications. Yeah. Yep. Early indications of cold Christmas. And we're not, and the other early indication is we don't have that southwesterly upper level flow like we do with this big storm. We have these big southwesterly winds coming up in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and that just drives so much moisture and energy up and through our area, and warm air and all that kind of fun stuff. It's, again, early indications look like we're more have a northwesterly flow going into Christmas, which means colder air. Maybe some of those quicker disturbances where we're looking at, just a quick 3 inches here and there. So at least we don't get dumped on, but it's going to be cold. Fedora. I used to have one. Boy, I don't know whatever happened to it, but I used to have, well, I take that back. That was one of my brothers had one, and then I just kind of adopted it because I was a big Indiana Jones fan. Go figure, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. So yeah, I would, sometimes I'd wear the fedora around. In college, I wore it on some of my drinking nights. I remember taking a few pictures with that. All right, guys. Any other questions? Otherwise, I got to bug off. I've got, I'll have to work tomorrow. And we've got, hopefully a game to go to for my daughters. So if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to bug off. All right, everybody. Stay safe. You got the timing down. If you got any questions, hit me up on social media. Region Weather Live on Facebook, just like my YouTube page here. Instagram, same thing, Region Weather Live. Twitter's the only difference. It's Region WX is my handle on Twitter, so you can find the information on there. So appreciate you all stopping in. Scott, thanks for all the help. Thanks for the $5 coffee. Appreciate it very much. Thank you a lot. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for piping in and hitting like and all that good stuff and subscribing to the channel. Appreciate everybody checking in. Good seeing you, Grace. The Godfather. I'm the God. I'm going to make you a forecast you can't refuse. Look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you a forecast you can't refuse. That's horrible. I'm sure my German accent totally came through there. Can never seem to lose my German accent, no matter what I do. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And keep tab on the social media sites, and we'll hopefully be live on Tuesday. And that's all I got for you.